everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your friendly neighborhood naturopath. Another day, another dollar. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can call me anytime you'd like today, toll free from anywhere in the U.S., 866-582-9933. That's 866-582-9933. Give me a shout, and I'll talk to you about anything except politics and religion, especially if it has to do with medicine. Now, perspective is what is desperately needed when it comes to our health care in this country, because we're not getting health care from conventional medical doctors. We're getting disease management. And there's a great deal of difference between health care and disease management. When you manage the illness process, the disease process, with symptom-suppressive prescription medicines, you rarely, if ever, get to the root cause of the illness, and it's like throwing a rug, sweeping symptoms under the rug, or painting over the mold that's in your basement. Well, that's pretty good for about a month, right? You don't see the mold anymore, you don't really smell it anymore, and then about 31 days later, 32 days later, 5-6 weeks later, the mold starts to creep back through the paint because you didn't fix it. It was still there, you just covered it up. Well, it's the same with chronic illnesses as treated by MDs. High blood pressure, asthma, arthritis, type 2 diabetes, anxiety and panic attacks, restless legs, fibromyalgia, insulin resistance syndrome, depression, thyroid trouble, kidney trouble, heart trouble. All of these conditions have their root causes in chronic, undiagnosed nutrient deficiencies. You don't have congestive heart failure or an enlarged heart or clogged arteries in your heart because you have a heart. And it's not a function of aging either. The only reason that organs start to go south, that things start to break down in your body, is because your body has run out of the essential nutrients that part of the body needs to stay healthy. And listen, from the holistic perspective, remember, from the holistic perspective, everything's connected. And your body has a built-in God-given ability to fix itself. This is the main difference, philosophical and treatment difference, between what holistic naturopathic physicians bring to the treatment table and what allopathic reductionistic MDs bring to the treatment table. Because your MD is trained to believe that your body is little more than a machine made of parts. And when you're hurt with something, when something is going wrong, when there's an illness present, it's the MD's job to break the body down into its smallest piece and give a medicine for that piece. Because everything is separate. Everything is separate. So you get one medicine for your blood pressure, one medicine for your type 2 diabetes, one medicine for your anxiety, one medicine for your bowel movements, one medicine for your urination problem, one medicine for your knee pain, one medicine for your sleep, one medicine for your energy, one medicine to take care of the side effects of all those medicines, and this is what we've all gotten used to, and it's nonsense. MDs are like communists, because communists believe that the population isn't smart enough to take care of itself, that the population must be controlled by the state. Every aspect of a communist regime is controlled by the state, everything. There's no free media in a communist society. There's no free market in a communist society. Well, you could argue that you can marry capitalism with communism. That's another conversation, I guess. But the main philosophical intent of a communist regime is to control as much as they can control, the idea being that the people are not smart enough to take care of themselves, right? Well, that's how your MD thinks about your health. That your body isn't smart enough to take care of itself. If it was, it never would have gotten sick in the first place. This is their rationale. So that when high blood pressure develops, for example, it's the MD's job to march into your body like marching into a country with a synthetic prescription medicine, which when taken overpowers the natural workings of the human body and starts to manipulate, in this case, the blood pressure biochemically, with synthetic chemicals. I don't really care if it's a synthetic chemical or if it's an organic chemical, if it's a man-made chemical, or if it's a chemical made by nature. You can manipulate the biochemistry of the body with chemical medicine, whether it's naturally occurring chemicals or synthetic. It doesn't matter. And this is what the MDs are trained to do. They are trained to march in, override, overpower, and control the innate workings of the body because, heaven forbid, they didn't do that. You'd die because your body isn't smart enough to fix itself, right? So this is why you're on prescription medicines for your entire life. The illness is never fixed. It's managed, which is pretty great for the pharmaceutical companies. And, every 3 or 4 years, as the blood pressure medicine starts to work less and less, they're going to increase the dose or switch you out to the latest designer drug. And you take it. You bend over and take it. Because you've put your trust in the wrong system of medicine. You've been taken advantage of. My position here is that you have been taken advantage of. That the people that you trust to give you medical advice are only trained in one very small aspect of medicine, but they pitch it to you as the be-all, end-all of everything. They're just one type of dog, for example. And they've convinced you that their dog is the only dog. And this is the problem that we all face in the United States. And, it doesn't help that the allopathic medical profession, the MDs, have gone out of their way to keep the osteopaths and the chiropractors and the naturopaths and the homeopaths and the herbalists out of the picture. They've legislated against us. I can't practice medicine in the state of Illinois. In the state of Washington, I can deliver babies, prescribe drugs, perform minor surgery, order any diagnostic tests I want, legally refer to myself as a physician, and it's all paid for by insurance. Imagine that. If I was to do exactly the same thing in Illinois that I did in Washington State, I'd be thrown in jail for a year and fined $5,000 for practicing medicine without a license, and that's not right. And it's the MDs that are responsible for that. They have gone out of their way to monopolize the medical marketplace, and we are suffering because of it. So, when it comes to your health, the worst thing that you can do with a chronic illness is go to a medical doctor, an MD, a medical professional who has been trained in a reductionistic, communistic, overpowering, control the situation therapy. And that's what your MD is trained in. Which leads to the inevitable conclusion that the worst person to bring your chronic health condition to is an MD. So stop it. Don't do it. Now, irony of ironies is that most chronic illnesses are extremely easy to get a leg up on because your body wants to fix itself. Your body has a built-in God-given ability that's working 24/7 to fix itself. This is what we understand as holistic physicians. And so what do? We provide science-based, clinically verified, safe and effective therapeutics that support the body's ability to fix itself. We go to the root. We go to the root cause of the illness. It's way better to do that. It's way better to find the source of the mold and eliminate it than just paint over it. Wouldn't you agree? Well, now you're the smartest person in class. Of course it is. But there's less than 4,000 licensed physicians like myself in the country, and of those 4,000, there's less than 350 that have more than 20 years of clinical experience. We are the minority. I mean, in the wonderful world of medicine, as it's doled out in the United States, on the totem pole of medicine, you've got the MDs on top, then the osteopaths, then the chiropractors, then the herbalists, and then the people that are trained in this ridiculous stuff they're calling nutrition. Then you've got the ground. Then you've got 50 feet of dirt. Then you've got the naturopaths. We are underground, baby. It's bad. We have been beneath the thumb of the allopaths for, about 80 to 100 years here in the United States, and we are fighting our way back. But my point is there's only a couple of hundred of us who know what we're doing. And I say this with all good intention. That's why it's called the practice of medicine, right? That the longer that you do it, the better at it you get. The more you know, the more you see, the more effective you are. Well, I'm one of the elite. I am one of the less than 350 licensed naturopathic physicians who have more than 20 years of clinical experience. I don't care if you want to call it elite. I'm experienced. And if I seem tall to you in my clinical expertise, it's because I'm standing on the shoulders of Dr. Wallach. And Dr. Wallach has forgotten more about medicine than most doctors know. Dr. Wallach's knowledge base continually blows me away. So if you're looking for science-based, clinically verified solutions, healthcare solutions, non-drug healthcare solutions, call me up and let's have a conversation. I'll talk about anything from acne to xenophobia. Whatever you want to talk to me about, I'll talk to you about, and I will give you the straight skinny on how you can attempt to support and promote your body's ability to fix itself, because it can. And you know, it's a funny thing. Again, this goes back to what I started talking about, perspective. It amazes me that people will sit down across the desk from me and say, you know, Doc, I've got high blood pressure, I've got type 2 diabetes, and my left ankle is pretty bad. It's pretty arthritic. But you know what? I'm pretty healthy. I feel pretty healthy. I eat healthy. Well, no, you're not. If you were healthy, you wouldn't have had any of those conditions to begin with. We've all become brainwashed to believe that illness is just a part of life. It is not. If you have a chronic illness, by definition, you are not healthy. You are not eating correctly. You are not taking care of business. But it's not your fault. It's your medical doctor's fault. I can fix it. Why can't they? I'll tell you why they can't fix it. Because they're domineering, despotic, dogmatic shills for the pharmaceutical industry, most MDs. God rest their souls. If you want logical, science-based, clinically verified solutions to chronic health problems, call us up. Visit my website, fireyourmdnow.com. There's a wealth of free information there helping you to make smart choices for your health. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Stay tuned. You know, it's a funny thing, isn't it? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, and this is Fire Your MD Now. In every culture, every generation, there are people who are out in front of a particular idea. Galileo raised his head up off of his desk, took a look around, made some measurements, made some observations, and had the bold statement that, hey, you know what? It's not the Earth that's at the center of the solar system, it's the sun. Everybody said, Galileo, what are you, nuts? I mean, just look. It's the sun that moves across the sky, right? Well, wrong. It only appears as if the sun is moving across the sky. It's the rotation of the Earth that makes it appear as such. They threw Galileo in jail for having such a radical idea as the sun being at the center of the universe, and now we accept it as gospel. In antebellum South, there were a handful of people saying, you know what, slavery is just wrong, stop it. Only a handful of them. They were burned at the stake. They were burned on the cross. They were shot. They were murdered. Wasn't a pretty thing, the whole slavery thing, especially the abolitionists at the beginning, right? It's the same. Every culture goes through this stuff. It's just life. I guess life in planet Earth, at least in the last couple of thousand years, it seems to be the way that it goes. Well, the idea that I and Dr. Wallach and a handful of my colleagues are putting out in front of everybody now is the notion that MDs are horrible healthcare providers, and is evidenced by the statistics. Therapeutics delivered by MDs are the leading cause of death in the United States. It's the leading cause of death. These people stink at their job. Stop giving them your money. Stop giving them your bodies. Stop going to them. Stop listening to their advice, because most of the time it's wrong, right? You know, first they told us, oh, you got to slit your wrists. You got to bleed yourself to death. That's how, bleed yourself. Bleed out the bad humors. That's what you need to do to heal yourself. They killed George Washington that way. Oh, no. Then we have to put leeches on the body. Oh, no. Then we have to take large doses of mercury internally to purge the body, right? As a purgative. It's a caustic purgative. Oh, yeah, that's how we have to do it. Oh, no, now we have to take Vioxx. Oh, no, now we have to take Premarin. Oh, no, now we have to do knee replacement surgery. And they're wrong all the time. And even though they're wrong, we give them a pass. Even though they're killing your husband, your wife, your kids, your family members, your church members, you give them a pass. And you let them go in front of you at the light. Oh, there goes the MD. Don't you hate those cars with the MD on the license plate? I try to get in front of those guys as often as I can. Just get right in front of them and then slow down. It's a 40-mile-an-hour zone. I'll go 5 miles an hour right in front of them just to tick them off. For goodness sake, it's about time. We need to call a spade a spade. Throw political correctness out the window. You don't need to be a you-know-what. You don't need to be a nasty person. But you need to stand up for yourself. Stand up for yourself and just say no. Where's Nancy Reagan when you need her? Just say no to drugs and surgery. I've been doing this for over 23 years clinically. And I've had to prescribe drugs. I can prescribe drugs. I got no problem with drugs. I've had to prescribe drugs less than 5 times. Less than 5 times in 23 years. Imagine that. Can you imagine a medical doctor going one day with less than 5 prescriptions? I can't imagine that. Because when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Now, I'd like everybody to visit fireyourmdnow.com. There's new information on the website. We post new information all of the time. And knowledge is power. We need to start to educate ourselves. It's not difficult. We need to start educating ourselves about healthy choices, things that we really can do, because there are lots of myths in the world about what's healthy and what's not. And we're here to bust them all wide open. I'm going to tell you that butter and salt are extremely necessary and healthy foods. And I'm going to tell you that olive oil is a bad food. I don't want you to even look at olive oil. Stop eating it. Olive oil delivers free radicals to your body. Free radicals create inflammation. Inflammation creates destruction. Destruction leads to tissue damage. Tissue damage leads to ill health. Stop drinking, eating olive oil. Eat butter instead. Who told you to use olive oil? Your MD did. Who told you to stop eating butter? Your MD did. And while you've been olive oil crazy and butter phobic, heart disease has remained unchanged. While you've taken $23 billion worth of cholesterol-lowering statin drugs heart disease has remained unchanged. But Alzheimer's, which affects the part of your brain made from cholesterol, has risen from obscurity to the 6th leading cause of death. If that's not reason enough to stop going to your MD, as God is my witness, I don't know what is. Now, when we come back, I'm going to be talking about high blood pressure and what you can do for it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Fire Your MD Now, and I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, helping you to pull back the curtain on the way that medicine is practiced in the United States and see what the MDs do that's hurting you and see what the holistic physicians can do that's going to help you. And towards that end, in this section, we're going to talk about high blood pressure. Remember, you can always give me a call anytime during the show, toll-free. Ask me a question about something having to do with medicine, and I'll give you my advice. 866-582-9933. That's 866-582-9933. As Fraser used to say, I'm listening. I've always wanted to say that. All right, now here we go. High blood pressure. Your MD would have you believe that you have high blood pressure because you have a heart or because you have blood vessels. Well, they're wrong. You don't have high blood pressure because you have a heart. You don't have high blood pressure because you have blood vessels, nor do you have a bad gene. By the way, whenever a medical professional tells you that your condition is genetic, that's code for I have no idea what's causing it. I just don't want to look stupid. And whenever a medical professional tells you that your condition is genetic, I want you to pause, take a breath, take 2 steps closer to them, look them straight in the eye and say, really? My condition's genetic? Well, I'm paying you $700 an hour. I want to know which gene is it? Which gene is it? Which gene is it? We decoded the entire human genome about 7 years ago. Which gene is it, doctor, that's causing my high blood pressure? Well, guess what? It's not genetic. High blood pressure most of the time is a simple calcium and magnesium deficiency. When you look at the architecture of the anatomy of your blood vessels in your heart, the blood vessels that carry blood away from the heart are called arteries, and arteries have muscles in them. The muscles constrict and relax, constrict and relax, constrict and relax like a snake slithering down the road and help the heart to pump the blood. It's pretty smart. That's Mother Nature at work. Your arteries that carry blood away from your heart have muscles in them which help the heart to pump the blood. Now, a muscle in an artery is no different than a muscle in your arm or your leg. It's a muscle. It's made from red muscle fiber. It's red muscle fiber, not white muscle fiber. Red muscle fiber. And when the muscles constrict in the arteries and then relax, they need calcium and magnesium to do that. They need calcium and magnesium in order to complete that process of getting tight and then relaxing, getting tight and then relaxing, getting tight and then relaxing. If you run out of calcium and magnesium, if those levels are off, and in most of us they're off, what happens is the muscle will constrict, but it can't relax. So this is what, why long-distance runners or athletes or anybody really can get a muscle cramp, get a Charlie horse. If you get restless legs at night in bed, it's the same condition. It's a little bit less intense, but it's a calcium-magnesium deficiency nonetheless, which is causing inappropriate, unhealthy, uncharacteristic muscle rigidity. Your muscles aren't right, not because there's anything wrong genetically, but because they've run out of the stuff they need to operate correctly. If your tires run out of air, they don't turn around the way that they need to. You put air back in the tire and fix the leak, and they turn round and round just fine. Well, it's the same with your muscles. When you have enough calcium and magnesium, your muscles anywhere in the body constrict and relax, nada problema, without problem, no problem whatsoever. Now, if you have a calcium and magnesium deficiency, the muscle will constrict, but it won't relax. When this happens in your leg muscle, you get a cramp. When it happens in your artery, you get high blood pressure because the artery will constrict. And I don't know if there are any gardeners listening, but if you've got water coming out of a garden hose and you clamp down on it just a little bit, the water comes out of the hose faster, doesn't it? That's because when you constrict the blood vessel, the blood going through it doesn't have as much room to go through it, so the pressure has to go up. The blood pressure goes up. That's one of the main causes of high blood pressure. It's a simple nutrient deficiency. So what do? You give calcium and magnesium and the other requisite nutrients that the body needs to make the calcium and magnesium work, and the blood pressure comes back to normal. It's easier than falling off a potato truck. Here's what I recommend in order to support and promote healthy blood pressure levels. Here's my recommendation. 1 bottle of Beyond Tangy Tangerine, red powder. It's called Beyond Tangy Tangerine, and it's a red powder. 1 canister of that per 100 pounds of body weight per month. The dose on that is 1 scoop per 50 pounds of body weight per day. Most people listening are over 100 pounds, so it's 2 scoops per 100 pounds of body weight per day. So if you're 150 pounds, you do 3 scoops a day. I recommend you put 1 scoop in 16 ounces of cold water, and take 30 to 45 minutes to drink it down. Don't just shoot it down. 1 scoop in 16 ounces of cold water, drink it down slowly. If you're 50 pounds, you do that once a day. If you're 100 pounds, you do it twice a day. If you're 150 pounds, you do it 3 times a day. If you're 200 pounds, 4 times a day, so forth and so on. It's easy. The next thing to do is a supplement called Cal Toddy, Cal-Toddy, Cal Toddy. 1 bottle of Cal Toddy per 100 pounds of body weight per month. Now, if we have a high blood pressure problem, the blood pressure most of the time is related to not enough calcium and magnesium. The Cal Toddy has calcium and magnesium in it, so I'm going to go overboard with the dose. I'm going to recommend you take a little bit more than you need to, appropriate for your body weight, in order to get things going, because you're running on empty. Otherwise, you wouldn't have high blood pressure. So I'm going to double the dose for the Cal Toddy for about 8 weeks. So I'm going to recommend 1 ounce of Cal Toddy per 50 pounds of body weight per day. So if you're 100 pounds, you do 2 ounces a day. If you're 150 pounds, you do 2.5 ounces a day, or 3 ounces a day, and so forth and so on. 1 ounce per 50 pounds of body weight per day. Or a better way to say that is 1 bottle per 50 pounds of body weight per month. So if you're 100 pounds, you need 2 bottles a month. If you're 150 pounds, you need 3 bottles a month. If you're 200 pounds, you need 4 bottles a month. You're not going to need that forever. Maybe 4 weeks, maybe 8 weeks, maybe 1 month, 2 months, 3 months max. in order to give your body the calcium and magnesium that it needs in order to settle things down. And is it possible to overdose with calcium? Yes. It's possible to overdose with sunlight or water or anything. I calculated the dose for the Cal Toddy. The overdose of Cal Toddy in order to actually create harm is 25 bottles a day. A day. There's no way on God's green earth anybody could do that. You do not need to be worried about toxicity of vitamins. You know how many people died last year from vitamins? 0. You know how many people died last year from prescription drugs and medical treatments? 780,000. Which is worse, 780,000 or 0? If you want to be worried about something, for goodness sake, be worried about your prescription bottle, not your vitamin bottle. Now, the next thing you need to do in order to round out this therapeutic program to support and promote the health of your blood vessels is essential fatty acids. I recommend 1 bottle of EFAs, essential fatty acids, in the 180 count. 1 bottle of EFAs at the 180 count per 100 pounds of body weight per month. So if you're 150 pounds, you need 1.5 bottles a month. If you're 200 pounds, you need 2 bottles a month. And the way that you dose the capsules is you add up how many capsules are in the bottle and then divide that by 30, which is the number of days in a month. So if you're 100 pounds, you're going to get 1 bottle. There's 180 capsules in there. 180 divided by 30 is 6. So you take 3 with breakfast, 3 with dinner. If you're 200 pounds, you need 12. You can take 4 with breakfast, 4 with lunch, 4 with dinner. It's that easy. So we've got the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. We've got the Cal Toddy. We've got the EFAs. The last thing to do is liquid plant minerals. 1 bottle of liquid plant minerals per 100 pounds of body weight per month. 1 bottle of liquid plant minerals per 100 pounds of body weight per month. If you do those things within 12 weeks max, most people see a remarkable reduction in their blood pressure. And this is an important thing to talk about, because blood pressure is called the silent killer for a reason. You can have blood pressure through the roof, man, not even know it unless you measured your blood pressure. So measuring your blood pressure is one of the few diagnostic things I recommend people do on a regular basis, especially if you're over 40 years of age, especially if you're an athlete, for goodness sake. So I like to see blood pressure numbers be lower than 140 over 90. Your medical doctor will give you a much lower number, but that's because he's trying to sell blood pressure medicine. When I was in medical school, it was 140 over 90. And in order to diagnose high blood pressure, your numbers had to be 140 over 90 or above. Both numbers had to be elevated 3 consecutive times in a row in order for a definitive diagnosis of hypertension to be derived. So it had to be, 145 over 92. Both numbers had to be elevated 3 times in a row. They lowered those numbers, and now if one number is elevated above their lower norm one time, or you're on high blood pressure medicine for the rest of your life. It's a giant crock of crap. Because number 1, they're not getting to the root cause of the disease. Number 2, they're loading you up with drugs. And hydrochlorothiazide, which is a very common antihypertensive, high blood pressure medicine, you take that crap for 5 years, it gives you type 2 diabetes. Now remember, it's not your doctor's job to take care of your health. It's your doctor's job to manage symptoms. He doesn't care that the medicine he's giving you or she's giving you is going to give you type 2 diabetes 5 years from now. They don't care about that. All they care about is you're not dropping dead from high blood pressure while you're in their office. They're going to do whatever they can to lower that blood pressure. Katie, bar the door. It doesn't matter what's going to happen downstream. That's just life. Just got to suck it up because everybody gets high blood pressure and you either take the medicine or die. Well, guess what? There's a second opinion. There's another alternative, and it's called medical nutrition. So when you're taking a medical nutrition program with a high blood pressure medicine, you have to be measuring your blood pressure every day. Because when the medical nutrition program kicks in and your blood pressure starts to normalize naturally, the blood pressure medicine that you're on is going to make your blood pressure be too low. And the symptoms of low blood pressure are you get up from bed and you're dizzy. You stand up from sitting down and you're dizzy. You change positions, you're dizzy. You get lightheaded for no reason, regularly. That's a sign of low blood pressure, and that's dangerous. You know, you can wake up in the morning, swing yourself out of bed, stand up and pass out, hit your head on the side of the bed, and it's all over. You could be driving down the road and pass out because your blood pressure's too low. So you have to have a handle on these things. Measure your blood pressure regularly, and as the numbers start to come down, you go back to the knucklehead MD, the pharmaceutical shill of a physician, who recommended you take that crap in the first place, and you have him lower the dose until your blood pressure is so low that you can stop the blood pressure medication 100%. And then you tell your doctor, hey, doc, I now have an eye problem. And he'll start rubbing his hands together. Really? Really? What's your eye problem? I can't see you anymore, you knucklehead. You were managing my blood pressure for years with medications. I fixed it in months with medical nutrition. You're fired. Now you know why I call this show Fire Your MD Now. Because I am serious as a heart attack, which I want to prevent. Ladies and gentlemen, take the wool off your eyes, open your eyes up, swallow the blue pill, pop out of the matrix, take your nutrition, change your diet, live long and prosper. We go into the future, ladies and gentlemen, with our heads held high and our eyes wide open. My colleague, Dr. Wallach, and myself have been telling people for decades now to stay off of gluten. That gluten is bad. And guess what? The latest numbers, as published in European medical journal, it's called the European Review of Medical Scientific Pharmacology. There's a mouthful for you. Reports that as many as 1 in 5 of people, 1 out of 5 people have some form of gluten sensitivity. 1 out of 5. Imagine that. Listen, Dr. Wallach, God bless him, is always ahead of the curve. He's always correct. In his magnum opus, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, which is an audio recording of a lecture that he gave in St. Louis a number of years ago, Dr. Wallach said that Alzheimer's was not genetic. And every medical society of every state sued him for giving misinformation to the public. He had 50 lawsuits against him for saying that. And he won all 50 lawsuits because he showed the research that proved he was correct. He was just reporting what other doctors had already said. That's all that we do. We don't need to bend the truth. We don't need to stretch the truth. We don't need to manipulate the truth. All we need to do is tell you the truth, because your medical doctors are pigeonholing their point of view, and they don't even know it. They're colorblind, and they don't even know it. Your medical doctor has no training in nutrition, no experience with nutrition, no respect for nutrition, never been to a medical nutrition conference in their lives, couldn't even tell you what vitamin B1 is, for goodness sake. So they have no idea of the relationship between high blood pressure and simple mineral deficiencies. They're completely clueless about it. Completely clueless about it, as they are about most things that come to real health. They do not know the first thing about health. And the first thing about health is your body has the ability to fix itself. The second thing about health is your body needs 91 essential nutrients in order to function properly. The third thing about health, it is impossible to secure all essential nutrients from food. You cannot do it. It's impossible. I don't care if you have a PhD in organic farming. You own 100 acres in Switzerland, the cleanest water, best soil in the world, and you put a big bubble around your acreage so that there no pollutants get in, and you only eat food that you made. You eat 3 square meals a day. You're still going to be undernutrified, because the lion's share of the body's nutrient needs are minerals, things like calcium and magnesium, phosphorus, silica, selenium. There's only one person that makes minerals, God. Mother Nature, if you don't believe in God. Minerals are found in the soil. If the food that you're eating is grown in soil that doesn't have nutrients in it, minerals in it, guess what? Neither does the food. Neither do you. And there's no place on God's green earth that has all 60 minerals that the human body needs. Therefore, the logical conclusion, again, is, this isn't rocket science, everybody is nutrient-starved. Everybody. You must supplement, or it's only a matter of time until something breaks. If you don't tune up your car, change the oil in the oil filter, and give it power steering fluid and radiator fluid, it's going to break. And there's nothing wrong with the car. It was the knucklehead behind the wheel, didn't take care of it. Well, your medical doctor does not know how to take care of your body. He doesn't know it. He knows how to stitch up a wound, knows how to, help you, resuscitate you if you're having a heart attack, knows how to prevent pneumonia most of the time, take care of pneumonia with, large doses of antibiotics. They know how to do that stuff. But they don't know the first, second, or third things about healing. They know nothing about it. And if you stay tuned to this radio show, you will know more than any medical doctor on the planet as to how to help your body recover its health, and then we will teach you how to help your friends and family recover their health, because that's what we are about. Ladies and gentlemen, go to fireyourmdnow.com. Check it out. There's a wealth of information there. Click on the Join Us Now tab. Join the cause. I will bring you along in our wake, teach you how to show your friends and family members how to recover their health. Remember, healing is easy. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, your steadfast advocate for health, talking to you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. We're talking all about detoxification tomorrow. Remember, what goes in doesn't always come out. I'll see you tomorrow. Stay tuned.